And howdy, everyone. Welcome to Tilson Live. It is Tuesday. It is 2 o'clock. We are live on Facebook, live on YouTube. I'm Eric Allard, one of your hosts, Senior Vice President, Tilson Homes, part of the fourth generation of the Tilson family, joined by the maestro, Don Dantzler, in charge of all things you see Tilson-related on the interwebs, on the socials. Welcome, Don.
Hey, Eric. How's it going?
It's going great. It's going great. I'm repping the Astros. We will be competing for eyeballs today. For those of you who are watching, we get it, but they're playing at 2:30 today. We get the great times because we're not on the coast. We're not the Yankees or the Dodgers, which means we play at 2:30 in the afternoon on a Tuesday. So
as long as you're not interrupting my college football, I'm good. I'm still not over that.
We're not interrupting college football yet, but if things go well for the Astros, we will in fact be interrupting college football. Anyway, we are geared up. Astros.
Don't strike out when you do it.
Our first playoff game today, so we're all about that. We are, like I said, live on Facebook, live on YouTube. We are excited to speak to you guys. Y'all jump in. Tell us where you're watching from. Tell us where you're building. Tell us what part of the process you're in. We are here, of course, as we are every Tuesday, to talk about all things build on your land. So Tilson is an on-your-land home builder. We have been for 4 generations, only in Texas. Been operating for 90-plus years, 40,000-plus homes all over the great state of Texas. But we do know that we got some people watching from all over the country, all over the world, jumping in. So if you got questions about doing this, obviously the further you get from Texas, the less we get as subject matter experts on that. But there are some fundamental things that you're going to need to know about building a home on your lot versus maybe buying a resale or having one in a subdivision already being built. So we know if you got questions about financing, about design, about site preparation, about any kind of customizations, about the process, about lead times, about customizations and changes, that's why we are here. That's why we do this each and every week. It is for you guys. So we want to be sure that you have all the information that you need to make the best decision for you and for your family. Times are changing quick. There's a lot going on out there. There's a lot of, dare I say, misinformation out there as well. So we are here to filter through that with you and for you and be sure that you guys have everything that you need. So jump in, tell us where you're watching from, tell us where you're building. Like I said, we're live on Facebook, live on YouTube, and Dawn has a very special program today. What are we going to be talking about specifically, Mrs. Dantzler?
So we are going to be talking about a classic Tilson plan. We've had it seems like forever. The Nottingham, in one shape or the other, has been a model and a Tilson plan for probably 50 years.
Actually, if you were to go back to its true roots, not far from there. Yeah. It's been a model in some way or shape or form since '93. And then, prior to that, it has some different iterations that go past the Carlton, which goes back to the Windsor, which goes back to the Duchess, which goes back to the Monarch, which, anyway, that's 1958 for sure in some way, shape, or form. But you talk about a great value plan, value-driven, a great way to get 4 bedrooms if you need them in a pretty economical footprint. Fantastic use of space, particularly if you still want to have 2 separate eating areas. You actually can get this house pretty simply with 4 bedrooms and a study right at 2,000 square feet. So we want to hear your questions about that. We got some, Don's got some awesome pictures of not only the model that we have in Angleton, Texas, but also some customizations that our customers have done, which is, what you guys love to see. So again, jump in, tell us where you're watching from, tell us where you're building, tell us what part of the process that you're in. We love hearing from you guys, both on Facebook and on YouTube. So Dawn, tell us who we got joining us so far.
Absolutely. We have Linda watching from Arlington, building a Whitney D in Maypearl. The interior walls are painted. Awesome.
Oh,
Moving
nice.
right
Very
along.
cool.
We have Ashley, who was watching from California, eventually building with Tilson in Republic Grand Ranch.
All right.
And then we have a friend from YouTube. Hi, y'all. Building a rock wall in McKinney. It's been a long year. The exterior is pretty much done, maybe complete by end of next year. Fingers crossed. Well, thanks for hanging in there. We know it's a long time to get some of this
It's a big
done.
house, too.
Yeah. Kristen, hey guys, our date got moved from the end of November to October 24th to start our build in Garden Ridge. We're so excited. Oh, that's awesome. Glad to hear that. That's amazing. But y'all keep dropping your comments and let us know where you're watching from, and we will answer any questions that you have. But let's go ahead and talk about the Nottingham.
Let's fire it up.
All right. So as we mentioned, the Nottingham is a model in our Angleton location. And what we've done there is the Elevation D, which is our more craftsman. So it's got that stone and board and bat exterior, got your cedar accents going on, and just a pretty plan. There's a reason she's a classic. Like it's a great piece of space. Like Eric was mentioning, which if we take a look at the floor plan, you can kind of see why I really like the way this floor plan is done. It's putting the space and the square footage where you really need it, where people typically like to use it. So you've got a huge family room. You have that very, very popular true split bedroom plan. So your extra bedrooms are to one side and the master suite is completely on the opposite end. So lots of privacy there, separated by a lot of square footage. It does come with a study and a separate dining room, in addition to your breakfast area. And then just all along that back of the home, big, huge windows that let in a lot of natural light. And that in that family room area, there is that very, very tall ceiling. So just a great efficient use of space. Both of your secondary bedrooms are the exact same size, so there's no fighting over who got the bigger room, any of that going on. And just really love this plan. Let's go ahead and take a look. All right, here we go.
As you approach the Nottingham Model home here in Angleton, you walk up, you're going to see extensive use of stone, cedar accents, and just a beautiful craftsman style that really is welcoming to everyone's property in a rural area. The Nottingham Model is one of our most open concepts that we've ever designed. As you walk in the front door, you'll be able to see all the way through to the beautiful fixed picturesque windows to your beautiful backyard behind. As soon as you walk into the family room, you're going to notice that it's open to the kitchen, it's open to the formal dining area and the breakfast room, so everybody can be hanging out in one large space, and for this size home can accommodate an amazing amount of guests. As you walk into the family room, you're not going to be able to help but notice a giant soaring cathedral ceiling that carries through the entire family room, dining area, and foyer that just really opens the space up. So the kitchen is open to the family room with a large bar top for makes easy serving and hanging out with the kitchen and the family room. And then the kitchen is very, very flexible. It offers an optional island if you want to do that, but it's great space for cooking and hanging out with guests.
All right. So like all of our homes does have a few exterior options. So these are the available exteriors that we have that come standard. So you've got the B, which is more of a traditional brick gable kind of look. Then you have the Elevation C that adds that large front porch. Still mostly brick, but it's got some siding under that porch area. It has a more traditional, straight hip roof line going on it. And then the Elevation D, which is what we've done in Angleton with the model itself. So craftsman, cedar accents, lots of stone.
A lot of stone, yeah, a lot of stone, a lot of cedar. And you made a comment before we started on this C, and I think we're going to see a little bit about something that you could do with that would be that board and bat hardy, and just make it pure full-on farmhouse, like your Canyon and some of the other ones that we have that just really, really very, very popular right now.
Yeah, it's almost begging for it, which the next slide, this is hardly anybody builds the C as it is designed. So these are a few of the examples that I've pulled. Everybody kind of stays with the D the way it is. The A kind of stays the way it is, but people really like to play around with that C elevation and get creative. And I just love showing off some of the smart ideas our customers had. So that top one that Eric's got the pointer on right now, they changed it to being lap siding with a stone wainscot. So you're getting kind of, more of a farmhousey vibe going on than you do with the solid brick. Getting even closer to the modern farmhouse, the one next to it does show the board and bat, still with the stone wainscot. Like you mentioned, Eric, I think this plan also begs to just drop the stone and go classic farmhouse. And obviously, these guys added a little bit more porch, so they went with a full wraparound porch.
Fully wrapped it, and actually dropped the roof pitch as well.
And added some more cedar to it as well. Up in those gables. And then the one down at the bottom is actually a mix of brick and stone. So they pulled off what would have been the siding part and changed it to stone to just kind of achieve a very different look there.
And they even snuck in the picture.
They did sneak in the picture. They were very kind to share their pictures with us. So
yeah, we love it, guys. We love seeing pictures of the home. We got some people that shared, like they've been in it 1 year, 5 years, 15 years. Because again, this plan has just been a staple of our designs for such a long time. For so many, I mean, we've built hundreds of these all over the state. And in fact, one of David Hazy was driving back from D'Hanis, Texas this morning, and he texted me a picture of one on Highway 90 in D'Hanis when he saw that we were doing it today. I mean, so they're all over the place. And,
that they are
just a great versatile design, great value.
Absolutely. So let's look at some of the rooms. As you come in, you do have a nice foyer that kind of separates it off from the living room, and then off to the side you've got the dining room on one side and the study on the other. So it just kind of gives you a little bit of separation from the family room, so you're not walking straight in. And then in that family room, as I mentioned, this is a huge room. It's 19.6 by 19.10. Very, very large family room, especially for a plan this size. And that ceiling, it is raised. So it's actually 11 feet, 6 inches tall, and then slopes back to the rear for visual interest. And then for those of you who have studied how to read a floor plan with us, these are 6060 fixed windows on the back of this, which means they are 6 feet by 6 feet. So all that light is going to come pouring in, and you're going to have hopefully much better views than we have at our model home center in Angleton. But you'll be able to see your property. It drives me crazy
because you have this gorgeous live oak back there, but this has now been converted all into a UPS distribution center, which I'm all for at Christmas time. That's great. But apart from that, why? We had to put a big privacy fence up. So now where you're building out on your, 12 or 14 or 2 acres, you're not going to have this problem. But suffice to say, this takes in some gorgeous views, and we've got some other pictures of some customers' homes that have that. So,
and then I really like the way you can kind of see it in this. The way the kitchen is done, it's open to the family room, but still separated. So the person who's working in the kitchen can see everything that's going on, but your guests aren't necessarily looking in on what's happening in your kitchen. Which those of you who have watched before know my feelings about dirty dishes.
Dawn has feelings about.
I have feelings. I have feelings and opinions, like all of y'all do.
I've been wondering what you put in your food in your kitchen when you I see. There's something.
No, you just wonder why I don't do my dishes more often.
No, I don't. I have children. I know why. Most futile exercise of all chores. It's
I know.
Vicious cycle.
And then, like we mentioned, you have the separate dining room space that, if you don't want the secondary dining room, this could easily be converted into something else. But it's a good size space for you to have 11.4 by 10 feet. It does come with that stepped ceiling detail. It's going to have a stepped ceiling, so it's 9 feet in the peak of the step, and then the rest of it is 8 feet. And again, pretty big window. You've got 6 feet wide of window here because you've got the 3060. And then the kitchen layout. So this is what's kind of hiding a little bit. So you've got the taller island on the outside, and then you've got your sink is in there. So when you are washing your dishes, you can still see what's going on in the family room. But just great use of space. Everything is easily at hand, and you can go very quickly around and just be very, very efficient.
Yeah, it's just a great practical layout
Mhm.
for a growing family or even empty nesters. It's really, really been handy for hundreds of customers.
Yep. And then there's also a breakfast area attached to that kitchen where you can, have your morning coffee, have the cereal, just kind of hang out, the more informal dining space.
Absolutely.
And then there is, if you want a little bit of a bigger kitchen, we do have a pre-designed alternate kitchen that I have some pictures of from customers doing that. So what happens when you do the alternate kitchen is it stretches the plan. So you're going to get additional space in your breakfast room, your kitchen, and your utility room. So it's adding a total of 138 square feet of living area, puts a center work island in the middle of the kitchen, and then in place of the pantry cabinets that you would have in the standard layout, you get a corner pantry that you can actually walk into. And then I have a couple of pictures because we've got some different angles. So these are customer homes. So this is one that was sent to us by the same family that snuck in earlier. But this is what theirs looks like. And again, I'm showing both because it kind of shows how much the colors that you use affect the look and feel of your home as well. So again, this is that layout with the center island. They went with the darker wood cabinets and the dark granite. And then you can see that the breakfast area is also a lot bigger in that space.
Yeah.
And then the next one, total opposite color scheme. So light. So it just shows you the differences there. And again, these are different angles. So it shows kind of how it changes from the other side of the living room as well. All right. Well, let's pause. I think we have some questions.
We certainly do. Let's go check them out. And guys, drop your questions in the comments, Facebook and YouTube both. We are answering all those questions. We're here for you guys. If they relate to this plan, great. If not, we're here for those.
Great.
Too. So bring them on. Great.
Great. All right. We've got Chris. Howdy. In Fort Worth, building in Hills Above Possum Kingdom. We are having the initial meeting with the construction manager next month. Awesome.
Okay.
Get started. We have our friend from Florida is here again. So thank you for joining us.
Yeah, welcome.
We've got April. Did my stakeout in Bandera County for my Tampico. Awesome.
Very cool.
Another good plan.
Which is based on the Nottingham, by the way.
Yes. Which started as a Nottingham.
Sure did.
Which morphed into a Marion. We get Julie. Good afternoon. We're building a Whitney and Bowie. Will spray foam also be added to the top of the ceiling drywall? If not, does that mean we're heating, cooling the attic too?
Okay, that's a great question, Julie. And so, no, it is not added to the top of the drywall. It's only put onto the rafters up above. And so, yeah, you will notice that it is significantly cooler in the attic. So it ends up being it's not AC like the rest of the home is. So like if you set your thermostat on 74, it's not going to be 74 in your attic, but it's not going to be 110 either. It's usually only about 10, maybe 12 degrees warmer in the attic of a spray foam home than it is in the living space that you're walking around in. So yeah, you end up with a much, much cooler attic. But I don't want to sit there and say that it is AC living area like the rest of the home, but it is going to be maybe 12 degrees warmer in the hottest part of the year than the regular part of your house. So I was in Bernie yesterday in our sales office, which is spray foam, and kind of went up into the attic just to see again. So truth be told, actually, Chris and I were having issues with the internet there, and we went in to make sure that it was plugged in. So we had the two Allard brothers bouncing around in the attic of what was the marquee, what is now the sales office. And I walked in there and was again blown away. Like this was at 3:30 in the afternoon. It's like 92 degrees outside. I'm, up against the roof. And like it was noticeably cool in there. So it still blows my mind when I hop in there and see that. So
yeah, Julie, I wouldn't think of it as like wasting HVAC to heat and cool the attic.
No, you have to have
the outside temperature isn't coming in is what's happening because it's sealed up so tight. The only air that's like the majority of the air that's coming into your house, we're actually pumping in deliberately because it is sealed so tight. So it's not like you're wasting energy heating and cooling the attic.
Right.
But, All right. Then we've got Rachel. Hi, we're building in Nottingham and Gillespie County. So very excited for this live. Awesome. Well, let us know what you did to your Nottingham.
Yeah,
Rachel.
we want to hear about it.
We've got Alex tuning in from Dayton. Howdy, Alex.
What's up, Alex?
We have Richard asking, is it possible to have floating vanities in the master bathroom, specifically the canyon floor plan?
I've seen, yeah, Kent Moore does have an option. So you can get with your sales consultant, be sure that we're talking about the same things that you're talking about. I think I know what you're talking about, where you can, there's nothing, almost like a hotel room in some cases where there's not, the big cabinets go down to the floor. So I have seen that as an option. I know it's an option when we're doing like a universal design where people could, maybe you're in a wheelchair and you get up underneath there. But I think we can do it otherwise, even without doing that necessarily. So yeah, it is an option, but we want to get with Kent Moore so that we can get a detail and make sure that we're accomplishing exactly what you want to accomplish. Great question.
Okay. Perfect. All right. We've got Will tuning in from Klondike. Hey, Will.
What's up, Will?
We've got Tara building a 4-2 Laporte and Kaufman. Tile install should be finished tomorrow and countertops tomorrow. Nice. Now to find a surveyor so we can start the closing process for December. That's awesome. Glad to hear it's going well for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've got Wendy. Hi, I'm really hoping that this is some of the misinformation you were referring to. We were told by a rep at a different location than where we signed that Tilson is only allowing the builder superintendent to work on 2 homes at a time in Republic Grand Ranch. I'm going to pop this down so I can read it. They started 2 builds there recently. So if I'm understanding correctly, assuming we're next in the queue, our house won't be started until one of those completes. If this is the case, it will have taken more than 2.5 years from contract to close, a full year longer than what we were told. Please tell me we misunderstood what was said and we won't have to wait for one of those to complete before ours is started. And Eric is already shaking his head no. So
yeah. So we didn't do a good job explaining that. So the answer is no. What we're trying to not do is start too many at one time. Like, we don't do us any good to start 7 at one time or 12 at one time if we have only enough foundation or framing crews to do 2 or 3. So we stagger the start. And I know that to not be true because we have like 11 going in Texas Grand Ranch right now at one time. So the logic's gonna be the same. We're not going to just have 2 going at one time. So once we get your like ACC approval back and permitting and everything done, and you are released to estimating, you will get a slot date of when you're going to start. But it will not be after those are completed. It will be staggered. With, hey, here's 2 starts this month in Republic Grand Ranch, and then here's 2 starts next month. And the point being just to stagger so that you have progress going at all times, instead of saying, hey, Mr. Builder, here's 8 foundations, go. He's like, well, I have like 2 foundation contractors, so how do you pick? Yeah. Anyway, that's what. So we didn't do a good job explaining that. So hopefully that helps clear that up a little bit. But no, you will not have to wait until those are completed until we start ones that are prepared to be released to construction.
Okay. Makes sense, I think. All right.
Clear as mud. Eric. Thank you very much.
Wendy, let us know if that didn't make sense to you. It makes sense to me, but I know what we're talking about. So we're being asked, are breakfast area and dinner room the same? Dining room, if we use the phrase dining room, it usually means it's a separate room in the plan from, it's away from the kitchen. Most of our kitchens are going to have what we'll either call a breakfast area or a dining area. If it's the only eating area in the home, we'll call it a dining area. We use the term breakfast area when we have a separate dining room. It's kind of our terminology.
I actually like breakfast for dinner. I like breakfast for dinner.
I also like breakfast for dinner. I agree.
We need to know if you like breakfast. If you like pancakes and eggs and sausage for supper every now and then, not all the time, but every now and then. Like, that was a real treat growing up. It was a big deal. Loved it.
Yeah, or breakfast for lunch. That was always a very exciting school day when you were having breakfast for lunch in the cafeteria.
We didn't do that.
Y'all didn't do that?
No, Sloppy Joes and
you missed out.
Pizza pockets and chicken rings.
Chicken rings?
I'll go into it if people ask.
Okay.
Keep asking your questions. If you want to talk about chicken rings, I'll be glad to.
Beverly says, okay, love your homes. I need to set up an appointment. Awesome, Beverly. So go to our website. There's a phone number on there. Give them a call, and our new home specialist can set up your appointment.
Be glad to, yeah.
Julia says, thank you for the explanation about the spray foam.
Yeah, no problem.
Then Chris has a question. I was curious whether you use hurricane hangers or for trusses or something similar. If not, is this something that could be added?
All right, Chris, so you're talking about hurricane clips and hurricane straps. We do use them everywhere that they are required, which would be all of the windstorm counties, every county that touches the Gulf of Mexico, with the exception of Jackson County, because Texas Department of Sheriff's genius. And also we use them in our certain cities that require it. So some city, like of all places, City of Livingston requires them. City of El Campo requires them. I can tell you from personal experience, you don't need them. If you're in an inland county, if you are like Montgomery County, Grimes County, Liberty, like you don't need them. I have owned a Tilson home that sat through a hurricane in Montgomery County, and I did not put hurricane clips and straps in my house. It doesn't get you anything. It really doesn't gain you a whole lot. Okay. What it does is it checks the box for the Texas Department of Insurance folks that the home will withstand a 3-second gust at 120 mile an hour winds. Okay. Well, if you are actually in a hurricane, ask the folks in Tampa, and it's 100, let's say 120, which by the way is like a Cat 3. It's not even what they had over there. But let's say you're having that. It is going to be a lot longer than 3 seconds. Okay. Like you may be in an area that only gets a 3-second gust, but if you really are like in the path of the storm, it's going to be more than that. And it, look, like I said, we have houses that were built back in the 50s and 60s that went through Hurricane Carla, Hurricane Alicia in 83. And there was no such thing as hurricane clips or hurricane straps. I'm not saying they can't provide some layer of additional help. What I'm saying is, if you want to spend the money and that will help you sleep at night, do spare no expense. Do it, okay? Like, but what I'm telling you, this is Eric, not building code talking. I'm telling you, you don't need it.
Okay, makes sense. We have a question from YouTube. Does Tilson do anything special to foundations to prevent shifting?
We take a lot of precautions, Life with Callie. What we try to do is, in other words, does it work 100% of the time? No, it does not. Soils are unpredictable, and they behave differently in different areas. And what we do is, obviously, we do your geotechnical investigation. So depending on where you are, we're either going to do a 15-foot bore, like a couple bores inside the footprint of the home, and we do them inside the footprint of the home, or we're going to dig a test pit if you're in an area that's really rocky. We're going to check and see if it really is just rock, and then we're going to design your foundation specifically for that soil type. Now, there are some extreme conditions that can come into play, and there's also homeowner maintenance that has to be done. We've got a lot more information on that in some other videos, but those are the things that we do. We have the engineers design the foundation system, how deep the beams are, how wide the beams are, what spacing the beams are on, what spacing the cables, the post-tension cables are on. They design all of that based on what they see from the geotechnical investigation, how the soil behaves with excess moisture, lack of moisture, and everything in between. So that's what we do to do everything we can to prevent it. And of course, we provide a 10-year structural warranty. So we're on the hook for you there for 10 years in the event that there is some significant shifting and it causes foundation failure. So it's okay if the soil shifts or even the foundation shifts, as long as it moves as one unit. What we're warranting against is foundation failure in that period. So great question.
Okay. All right. We got Schwante for Sugarland. Our San Jacinto C is almost done with plans to close in November. Awesome. That's great. Send us pictures.
Beautiful.
We've got Amy building an Angelina C near Belton Lake. I think we are getting tile this week. Not sure what happens after that, but flooring and fixtures, I think then we start to wrap up.
Yeah, you're getting very close. Yeah, after tile, we start to do final trims. Yeah, your plumbing fixtures, light fixtures, all that kind of good stuff starts going in.
Yep, you're almost there. We've got Rachel. We went with the alternate kitchen, walk-in shower, and a few other minor changes on their Nottingham. I'm most excited for the shoe cubby we were adding in the half wall in the foyer. With 2 boys, I need all the options to reduce messes. Oh, that is genius. I love that.
I can concur. I was in the middle of 3. So.
We got Wendy. Yes, that makes sense. Okay, so she understands. We've got Ashton building the Preston in Bastrop County. Slot date as of February 6th. Hope my date moves up.
Let's hope so. Be great.
We got Will. Got to get back to farm work. Hay getting baled, and we just got back from celebrating our anniversary vacation. Y'all have a blessed day and week. Breakfast for dinner is always a good option. Oh, happy anniversary, Will.
Happy anniversary, Will. And Mrs. Will Rhodes.
Yes. We've got Joe saying, ESPN, yes, breakfast is on the menu for tonight, and as always, great info today. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, thanks, Joe.
Julie says to not make her Google chicken rings. So explain a chicken ring.
So there's definitely not a part of the chicken that is a ring.
I was going to say, I'm not familiar with this chicken part.
look, it came in the little trays at Montgomery Junior High, Montgomery High School. There, I said it. That's where born and raised. And they were truly like little flat looking donuts about the size of a very large washer, maybe 2.5 inches across, and they had a hole in the middle. It was a chicken nugget with a hole in the middle. There is no part of the chicken naturally that looks like that, so
So do they just make the nuggets out of the middle?
use your own imagination. But they came with that and some watered down gravy, and that was lunch.
Excellent. I will keep my
And
breakfast.
I'm fine. Everything's fine. I'm fine. Totally fine.
Totally. And we have a question. How does the home address work when building a custom home in a rural area? Do we get a P.O. box? What do we do?
Yeah, so you are going to get with your county, typically the 911 address. You can look at your county's emergency management site, call them up, and they will actually issue you an address on whatever county road that you're on or farm to market road that you're on. And they will issue you a physical address that is required these days for emergency for 911. So if you were to call and they need a physical address, you can get a P.O. box, obviously, if you don't want to set up a mailbox at your actual physical address, you could do that. Although, just so you know, typically Amazon and those guys do not deliver to a P.O. box. No. So if you want to get Amazon and FedEx and UPS deliveries, you will need some type of physical address, or you can get like a UPS store or one of those. Actually, Amazon does the Dropbox things now, but probably not where you are if you're in that rural urban area. But yeah, just call your county emergency, 911 address or and physical address for whatever county that you're in, and they'll have a process, either paperwork that you fill out, drop them a pin. They all have a little process they do to give you an address.
Yep. Awesome. Great question, though.
Yeah.
Great question. All right. Well, let's look at the rest of the Nottingham.
All right. So y'all keep dropping your questions in. We'll answer every single one of them live on Facebook, live on YouTube. Put your questions in the chat section, and we will answer all of them.
Absolutely.
That we can.
The Nottingham is a true split floor plan in that the master is on one side of the home with the spare bedrooms on the other. So the master suite has its own private space. It'll easily accommodate large king-size furniture with a beautiful master bath and a gorgeous shower and separate tub area that can be easily accommodated to make just a one large shower if you want to. So the spare bedrooms are on the other side of the home opposite the master, and they offer a great space for kids that are growing up or for guests that are staying a long time and have their own private area. As you walk into the foyer, you're going to notice that right off the foyer is a study that we have set up, or office area. You could easily convert that to another bedroom if you wanted to do that with a closet. So the utility room space of the Nottingham is designed for rural country living. It's located immediately off the kitchen for easy access to a freezer space, washer, dryer, lots of storage, and just a fantastic spot that's very convenient for everybody.
Yeah, it's great. Beautiful. All right, so that master bedroom, again, very, very generous size, 13 by 16, and it has that step ceiling feature in there. As Eric mentioned, this is all king-size furniture. It's huge, and this room still just feels so large in the space, and it's got all the windows on the back, so lots of light coming in. The master bathroom, over on the left is the picture from the actual model. So you can see it's got his and hers vanities, and one side is actually taller than the other. You've got the seated area to do makeup and hair and all that good stuff.
Of course.
Yes. And then, as we mentioned, this home has been a model for a while. So I also pulled a current picture from one of the houses we've completed for customers to show you what the current style is for the tub. We've found over the years, we warranty our own homes. We do the work. It's a lot better for everybody to have the cabinets to access the plumbing rather than trying to tear up all of that beautiful tile work if there's ever anything wrong. So we now put cabinet doors with our tubs so we can get to that plumbing more easily. And we have changed the threshold style. Used to be tile and a little bit taller, but we've brought that down and we actually match your countertops with your shower threshold. So that shows you what you can expect if you were to build at Nottingham today.
Yep. And actually, so there's no door on this particular model, which is kind of nice. People don't like to have to clean the glass. And so that's something to think about. If you wanted to add a door, we could certainly do that. But the way the model comes is with no door on it, and people love it.
Yep. And this is the master closet that I just put in here because it's huge, particularly for a 2,000 square foot home. And you've got those cubbies built in on both sides of the shelving, plenty of space to hang things, lots and lots of storage in there. So I wanted to show that off a little bit. And then the additional bedrooms, like I mentioned, they are exactly the same size, very generous size, 4-bedroom. These are full-size beds. Again, they're still got a lot of space in there. So those are great. And they do share a hallway bath that I realized I forgot to put in the presentation, but you saw it in the video. They do have a bathroom, I promise.
They sure do.
And then the utility room, again, lots of space, plenty of space for a stand-up freezer if you want to put it in there, but your washer dryer, and you have the cabinetry that goes above, so you can tuck everything away. And there is an exterior entry from there. And this, if you added a garage, is where it would connect.
That's right.
And then this is the study. So that's right off, kind of private, off on its own when you come into the home. And again, good size room, perfect if you're working from home. If you need, kind of a playroom space for kids, this would be great because it's close enough to the family room that you can hear them, but far enough away that you don't have to. And, kind of collect all their mess. Good for homeschooling. This really, you could use it for whatever you needed. And very easy to convert into another bedroom if you needed that.
Which is nice because it is kind of really over all by itself. And you kind of already have a closet there ready to go, and just it's truly just putting a door here. There's nothing to it.
Yeah,
you're in business.
All right, and these are some other things that our customers have done that are not pre-designed options, but were just pretty smart things. So I wanted to show them. This one is they actually changed that ceiling in the family room to be a cathedral ceiling. And then put the fireplace in. So it's kind of reminiscent of, more like our driftwood plan or, something like that, where you have the cedar beam and beautiful fireplace with the stone all the way to the ceiling. And just very, very pretty. Very pretty.
Yeah, very pretty. Great view from the kitchen too.
Mm-hmm.
And when you walk in the front door, just really, really pretty touch.
Good focal point. And then they did a whole large covered back porch, just filling in all that space in between the rooms. So I think that turns out very nicely. And then we do have some pre-designed options that I can show to you guys that we have. So
while she's pulling that up, guys, put your questions or comments into the chat. We'd love to hear from them.
All right. So we do have the option, as standard layout is a 2-bedroom plan, but some people really want to do a powder room for their guest. So this is what that looks like. The other thing that happens is it makes that just the walk-in shower takes the tub away. I know a lot of people like their tubs. A lot of people don't. So depending upon where you go, how you fall in that spectrum. So that gives you this area. It gives the study a door and a walk-in closet and gives you the powder room there. There's also a option to move the utility room over with the bedrooms. So what that did is push this bedroom back and gave you a huge walk-in pantry where the utility room used to be. We have the attached two-car garage option. So like I mentioned, it's going to you'll go connect through the utility room, and it is a side load garage. It's the standard layout there. The bedroom 4 option, you can add it if you wanted to keep your study. You can add it over here on the side, so it's just adding another bedroom and another bathroom to the home. We do have a pre-designed covered porch option that's a little smaller than the one that we showed you that the customer did, but it does still a decent 15x8 covered porch there on the back. And then we do have the recommended fireplace location. Like Eric was kind of talking about last week, we prefer to put them on exterior walls just because we're not taking away from living area. The one that we showed you was in this space, which would have taken a little bit from the living area. That's why we tend to prefer them here. But as you saw, we can do it. We can do it either way. You do have the option of making that hall bath a Jack and Jill, so that each of these bedrooms has their own private prep space. Separated out. And then we have an even bigger utility room. So you can do that and have that going on. So those are kind of the pre-designed options.
And that part there is very popular with a lot of our customers who are living out in very rural areas. They need that space for a freezer or even a refrigerator in there, because when they go to Costco, they load up probably on chicken rings, and then they bring them back and put them in the freezer and, pretend they're eating chicken parts.
All righty.
I promise my parents loved me. They did.
Your parents weren't doing it. School was doing it.
That's true. That's true. My mom did work for the school district, though, so something to think about.
Oh, okay. Maybe your mom was doing it to you. All right. And folks, that is the Nottingham. So let us know what questions you have, and I'll catch up with the ones that we did have come in.
Yeah, and again, just a classic design that's been around for decades for us, and a happy home for a lot of Tilson customers. And so a great place to start, a great starting point for a lot of folks, and again, a really high value plan. It's very economical, a great way to get in a maximum amount of space with very, very little money, really. So,
yeah.
All right, we got questions. Y'all put your questions in the chat on Facebook and on YouTube. Put them in there. We will answer every single one of them. And so here we go.
Here we go. Brian in Porter is asking, why is Tyvek the house wrap of choice, and how do we qualify our contractors?
Okay, so Bo, great question. We really, really like Tyvek because it is an easy application, is number one. It also provides, it's a fantastic vapor barrier, moisture barrier that's been proven to work very, very well in millions of applications. The tape that it comes with is very simple. The application is very simple. And it's kind of and I know this is kind of maybe not a great way to say it, but it has a large margin for error. And what I mean by that is it's very hard to mess up compared to some of the other systems that are out there. There are some very, very good systems out there. They just don't do well in a highly rural, dirty, dusty, no parking lot around it environment. So for instance, in an apartment complex where they go in, they lay down all the concrete slabs, all the parking area. They use the parking area as the staging area for all the raw materials. And there's not dirt anywhere. It's all just concrete. Other options are great. A lot of those other options, if you get any of that dirt or sand onto the tape where they're taping the joints up of those products, it doesn't work. The warranty's void on it. It is not going to keep moisture and air out of there. Whereas on Tyvek, it's a much, much simpler application. We can get it in 8, 9, and 10 foot height. So we can do all the different plate heights with it. And it does the job very, very simple. And we put that right over. And because we're already doing a full OSB wrap for structural stability, we don't need to do any other kind of the other type of systems that are out there. We tape those joints off. So we like OSB wrap, Tyvek on top of that, tape the joints, do around the windowsills, and you're done.
Okay, makes sense.
And then qualifying our contractors. So a couple of different ways. When we're doing, so some we've been using for years and years. So that's an easy one. In a lot of those cases, sometimes those crews beget other crews. In other words, they get big enough. We're like, okay, well, we're going to start, hey, this guy's been working for about 3 years. I'm going to put him over a group of guys, and now that have 2 framing crews and then 3 framing crews. So on pretty much all cases, we go and look at their work, obviously. So references is great, but we like to go put our eyes on their work somewhere. So we'll go do that. And sometimes we do it through other vendors or vendor partners. So maybe a large supplier of ours, we'll go to them and say, hey, do you know anybody who does this and this and this? And they'll say, yes, we like going that route because typically, then we can look at their work and determine, but if a vendor or supplier is probably not going to recommend somebody unless they're paying their bills. So we like going that route because it means that at least they are financially responsible and are paying their bills. And then we can decide if the work is something that'll be up to our standards or not. But that's typically the way we vet them out to start with. But a lot of times it's family. We'll find a framing crew who has a cousin that runs a cornice crew, who has a brother-in-law who runs paint crews, and just kind of references and word of mouth is how that's done in a lot of cases.
Okay.
We've also been known to hang out at Sherwin-Williams, and we've also been known to hang out in McCoy's parking lot. And I was riding around with Justin Ordno, and I was paying for lunch at a restaurant. I don't know where we were, and I went outside, and he was accosting a roofing contractor to get cards from him. So to go find their work.
He was not accosting them. He was offering them opportunity.
Right. Exactly. So that's how it's done, Bo.
Yep. All right. We've got Ashley giving a shout out to Allison in spring. Met with her in February while visiting our Texas family. She was so kind to our toddlers, and that goes a long way with me. Oh, glad to hear that.
That's cool.
That's great. All right. And she's saying, I'm loyal to my first good experience. So even if it's a year from now, I'll be going back to Allison to sign our contract. Awesome.
She's looking forward to it.
Thank you for sharing that. And we have a question: when the Apollo Duro model is finished, will they have a video tour of it? Yes, we will. We will have a video. You don't actually need to wait until then, though. We do have a rendered virtual tour of the Polidoro on our website if you're interested in kind of taking a look at what that plan is going to look like. Then we got Talon plugging his seminar. So our San Marcos Design Center, where we are building the Polidoro, so great segue, is having a seminar on Saturday, October 22nd at 2 p.m. So visit the website to reserve your spot. So yeah, for our in-person seminars, we do ask that you guys pre-register so we can make sure to save you a seat. And that's the San Marcos one. We might be having some in other locations too. So check our website for those schedules. I know a lot of them are having it, but I'll let Talon have his moment since he.
Yeah, you gone and plug it away, man.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, we've got and the last call for questions. So any questions, comments, anything you want to ask us about the design process, timeframes, financing, customizations,
favorite
how to get
colors,
to our offices, life itself, things like that. We are here for you guys. We want to. Oh, we got a nice thing.
Sandy says Talon is our sales associate, and he is great.
So, oh, that's
everybody
awesome.
Listen to Sandy. Go visit Talon.
Yeah, go see Talon.
Seminar. Yeah.
So we will be releasing that to construction next month, I do believe. So November, we'll be getting going on the Polidoro model in San Marcos in earnest. And then also, of course, we are rolling on our models in Waco. So they should be pretty well dried in probably this time next week. And we are doing seminars up there, and depending on how what part of the process that we're in, we are able to walk customers through, which is a really cool experience because you can see the framing actually live in action.
Yeah.
So it's a nice way to kind of see what happens behind the scenes.
Yeah, it is. We got Ashley asking if we're building a model in Republic Grand Ranch, which floor plan and when is the estimated completion? Those are excellent questions. We are going to build a model in Republic Grand Ranch. We are working on a brand new floor plan. So once we get that kind of squared away, we will then be able to kind of figure out when we'll start building. But yeah, there will be. Say what?
Surprise floor plan.
Surprise floor plan. Brand new one. And then is the wood surrounding required around an electric fireplace? If so, what's the purpose of it?
It is not. So really, it's just for color. It's just is purely to. So they probably the ones we showed you. They had some other cedar accents, like either cedar beams above. I think they had like some cedar molding up against the ceiling. So it's just kind of a way to tie all that in together. There does need to be something back there. So the fireplace itself needs to rest on in something flush. So it has to either just be sheetrock around it. In other words, it's really hard to put it directly on. We can't put it directly just on stone because the stone itself has a very uneven surface. So we need either that flat surface that the cedar or real soffit provides, or we have to do it with sheetrock. So I guess you could do it with tile, but that might be kind of a dated look, maybe. Yeah.
And then we have questions. Can we have a fence around all of our land and not just our home?
That's really going to be up to if you're in a deed restricted subdivision, it's going to be up to them. But I mean, broadly speaking, if it's unincorporated, you bet. You run barbed wire all around it, or corral fence, or 3-board, 4-board fence, whatever you want to do. Drill stem, pipe, welded fence, whatever. But if you are in a deed restricted subdivision, they may have some parameters that you have to stick within, and they probably are going to want to approve it. It's going to have to go through the same ACC approval process as your home plans or pool or anything else that you're doing. But yeah, it doesn't have to be around the home. And
all right.
The only reason I have a fence around my home is keep cows out. That's it.
Yeah. Ash is saying, a surprise floor plan. Like, I need any more options with my indecisiveness. I'm sorry.
We're not here to create problems, Ashley. I'm sorry.
No, we just have a very specific lot in Republic Grand Ranch, so we have to design a home that's gonna look right on it. So that's why we're
exactly right.
We're doing it.
So, guys, we are grateful that you came in and saw this. We have all 12 of our locations that are open 7 days a week. Oh, so he's talking in those subdivisions.
Texas Grand Ranch, Republic Ranch.
They have different types of fences you can do, but definitely it has to go through the approval process in both of those. So patent development, the Architecture Control Committee of Texas Grand Ranch or Republic Grand Ranch does have to approve what kind of fence you're going to do. But there is not. I haven't seen any kind of limit on what you can do. They probably can't do barbed wire,
Yeah.
You can't do a barbed wire fence. It has to be some type of a decorative. But I've seen some beautiful wood panel fences, 3-board fence. I've seen some of those with like cattle panels behind them. So if you want to keep other critters in or out, that's a good way to do that. I've even seen some that have like goat fencing if you have a little dog that you don't want to get out, or if you want to keep armadillos and those guys from getting in. So yeah, it can be done. It just needs to be approved. So great.
Okay. And then Julie is checking in the Flickner family, building a live oak, and we are in framing already in Johnson County. Awesome.
Beautiful. We love it. So yeah, we got a lot of stuff happening all over the state. We're about to get started in San Marcos on the Paladuro. We are rolling in Waco on the Angelina and the Tampico and a Casita. So go by those places. Obviously, we have other homes that are open 7 days a week, and people are taking us very seriously on our last round of questions. Bring them on in. Let's do it.
All right. Don is asking, do you build completely custom homes, and how would those be priced?
All right, Don. So that's there's not a finite definition of custom, unfortunately. So here's what I'll tell you that we do. We have a portfolio of designs. Those are great templates. Some people build them just like they are, very few. And most people make dozens of changes to them. We also can take a look at your plans. You have a set of plans you want to build that you've had drawn up or that you're in love with, bring them in, and we can make sure, that it's in our wheelhouse, that we feel like that we are capable and competent to do that, knowing our trades and all that kind of stuff. We also would want to make sure that from a budgetary standpoint, it's going to be something we can do within the budgets that you're going to want to do. What we are not is a design build firm. So, and the difference with that is like you would come in and sit down with a designer or architect or residential, certified residential designer and actually design a home from scratch. And then we bid that, estimate that, give you a price on that. We don't do cost plus. So that a lot of custom builders do cost plus on true custom builds. So we don't do that, and we are not a design build firm. But apart from that, as far as customizations go, that's what we do. But what we don't do is allowances where you run out, hey, you have a $7,000 flooring allowance, and you go to Joe Bob's Floors over here and pick out your floors, and you have a $8,000 countertop allowance, and you go over here and pick, like, that's not us either. We do have selections that we have. We try to keep you into that because that's the stuff we buy at scale and can get better deals on. Doesn't mean that we can't get something that vendor may provide that's not in our design center or one of our color rooms. But we can't just be like, hey, I'm going to show up with this light fixture, y'all put it in. Hey, I'm going to show up with this dishwasher and y'all put it in. That we do not do. So hopefully that helps kind of tell you where we are on the spectrum of custom. We are custom, but we are not mayhem.
Okay. Makes sense. And we've got Kim from our Bernie office plugging their seminar. Theirs is on October 22nd at 11 a.m.
Oh, you could hit both of them. You could
hit both. You could make it to
Bernie
both.
at 11, then hit San Marcos at 2, catch a couple of Facebook Lives on the road in between. You will be so informed.
You will know all of it.
You will.
Okay,
Bo's
I think that
saying
for
go
real
Bears.
the last one.
I'm assuming Bo's talking about the Montgomery Bears when he's saying go Bears. So
okay.
I agree. Go the big bad Bears. All right, guys. Grateful that you joined us today. Dawn, thank you for putting this together. This was very well done.
Absolutely.
Kelsey, thank you for monitoring the chat. We appreciate you doing that. We are on the website. You can find all this information there. We have a YouTube channel with hundreds of videos. We have a Facebook page, Instagram page. We apparently there's TikTok floating around out there. That somebody from Tilson is on. It's not me, so somebody's on there.
It's not me either.
But anyway, we're over there in that world as well, and we're easy to get a hold of, guys. We want to hear from y'all. We are so grateful that you came in here and watched this today, and we really genuinely soon hope to make you part of the Tilson family. We'll see all you guys later.
Bye, everybody.